Breaking news. Just minutes ago, investigators revealed evidence that will forever alter how the world remembers the disappearance of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, a child who could not speak, could not defend himself, could not run. When the story first broke, it gripped the nation. A mother in tears, a father desperate for answers, a family claiming a stranger had taken Emmanuel from a parking lot in broad daylight. Headlines painted a picture of desperation, police scouring the area, neighbors combing through brush and ravines, volunteers holding candles late into the night, all pleading for Emmanuel's safe return. The community mobilized immediately. Families set out with flashlights. Volunteers posted flyers in every corner of Yucaipa. Social media exploded with posts demanding justice. Everyone wanted to believe the story because to imagine otherwise was too horrifying. But as days passed, inconsistencies began to emerge. No witnesses reported seeing a stranger. Surveillance cameras captured ordinary activity. Family shopping, cars pulling in and out of, but no attack. No abduction. And the injuries that were supposed to confirm the story didn't match what Rebecca Haro had described. Today, law enforcement confirmed what many had feared. There was never a kidnapper. There was never a mysterious man. The evidence now points to those Emmanuel trusted most: his mother, Rebecca Haro, and his father, Jake Haro. The hands that should have protected him are now accused of ending his life. This is not just a crime. It is a betrayal of the most sacred bond, a bond between a parent and child that should never be broken. On the afternoon of August 14th, Rebecca Haro reported taking her son, Emmanuel, to a sporting goods store in Yucaipa, California. She said she parked, laid him in the back seat to change his diaper, and stepped out into the hot August air. Cars rolled past. The asphalt shimmered under the sun. Ordinary moments of a parent's routine, until she claimed everything changed in an instant. Rebecca said a man approached her, greeted her with a single word, "Hola," and struck her. She described the sudden rush of pain, the world spinning, and then darkness. When she regained consciousness, she said her baby was gone. The car seat sat empty. Emmanuel's blanket lay crumpled on the floor. The soft cries of a child were replaced by her screams. Her call to police was frantic, filled with terror. Officers rushed to the scene, sirens echoing through the streets. Volunteers lined up to search, flyers spread across neighborhoods. The nation watched, hearts pounding, desperate for news. But even in those early hours, something felt off. Witnesses in a parking lot reported seeing nothing unusual. No struggle, no cries, no assault. Surveillance cameras showed shoppers, families, and cars, but no stranger. And as investigators pieced together the story, cracks began to form. Rebecca's account did not align with physical evidence. Her injuries were faint, inconsistent, and appeared more self-inflicted than the result of a violent attack. Detectives reviewed every frame of footage, analyzing every detail. Nothing supported the story of a sudden abduction. And when questioned, both Rebecca and Jake Haro showed signs of nervousness. Words stumbled, stories changed, laughter appeared inappropriately, vague recollections replaced clear memories. Eventually, Rebecca stopped cooperating entirely. As the investigation deepened, the situation became darker. Jake's vehicle was seized. Cadaver dogs were brought to the home. Search warrants targeted every corner of the Haro's property. Investigators began to ask the question the public wasn't ready to hear. Was Emmanuel ever kidnapped at all? The hours spent searching fields. The prayers whispered into the night. The neighbors bringing food and water to exhausted volunteers. All were based on a story that was now being dismantled piece by piece. And one thought persisted. Did Emmanuel's short life end before the search even began? Was the nation mourning a child who had never had a chance to be found alive? Today, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department confirmed the devastating truth. Emmanuel Haro was not kidnapped. His parents, Rebecca and Jake Haro, have been arrested and officially charged with murder. For weeks, the nation believed in a stranger in the parking lot. Investigators now say the story was an elaborate illusion meant to mislead and distract. Forensic teams discovered traces of human decomposition connected to the family. Phone records contradicted sworn statements. Search warrants suggested that items connected to Emmanuel's final moments may have been deliberately hidden. In the wake of this revelation, one sentence from the sheriff's office carries unbearable weight. The search was never for a missing child. It was for the truth buried beneath his parents' lies. The announcement sent a shockwave through the community. For days, volunteers had combed through ravines, searched abandoned lots, and walked shoulder to shoulder in the blistering sun. They carried water bottles, flashlights, and hope. Some skipped work. Others left their children at home, believing they were helping to bring another child back. And now they are told that all of it, all of the sweat, the prayers, the sleepless nights, was built on a lie, manipulated by the very people who cried out for their help. The grief of Emmanuel's neighbors is matched only by their anger. Just a week ago, candles were lit on sidewalks, small flames flickering against the night sky, each one meant to guide a missing baby home. But now those same candles stand as reminders of something far more devastating, that Emanuel may never return at all. For investigators, the betrayal cuts deep. Hours of manpower, thousands of dollars in resources, helicopters overhead, cadaver dogs deployed, all for a story that was collapsing as it was being told. Detectives describe a mixture of frustration and grief because while they signed up to chase criminals, they did not expect to be deceived by parents whose child life hung in the balance. And then came another revelation: Jake Haro's criminal history, an earlier conviction for child cruelty, a history that now rises to the surface with haunting relevance. How many warning signs were overlooked? How many opportunities were missed to intervene before Emanuel was placed in the care of someone with such a past? Questions that leave the public shaken and officials searching for answers. Parents are supposed to be guardians, protectors, the safe harbor against the dangers of the world. But in this case, the danger did not come from outside. It came from within the very walls of the home. Emmanuel's greatest threat was not a stranger in the shadows. It was the two people who should have fought hardest to keep him safe. This case was never about a stranger in the night. It was never about a mysterious figure slipping past cameras or a predator hiding in a parking lot. It was about betrayal from within. It was about the collapse of the bond that should be unbreakable. It was about the hands that were meant to cradle a child, instead becoming the ones accused of ending his life. The world rushed to believe the Haros, because who would question a mother sobbing for her baby? Who would doubt a father demanding answers? We wanted to trust them. We wanted to believe their story because the alternative was too horrifying to face. But now, with each piece of evidence, the mask falls further away. And what we are left with is not the image of parents desperate for their child, but parents desperate to shield themselves from accountability. The community grieves for Emanuel, but there is something deeper than grief lingering here. A quiet recognition that danger does not always come from the places we fear. Sometimes it comes from where we feel safest. Sometimes the threat is not a stranger at all, but the very people entrusted with love and protection. If trust itself can be weaponized, if the arms that should comfort can instead destroy, then how do we ever protect the most innocent among us? How do we guard children when their greatest risk is not out in the world, but within their own home? These are the questions Emanuel's case forces us to confront. Questions with no easy answers, but with consequences we cannot ignore. And so Emanuel's story cannot end here. His short life deserves more than to be forgotten, folded into another headline. His memory must remain a warning, a call to vigilance, and a reminder that truth can hide behind the faces we least expect. We will continue to follow every development, every courtroom update, every piece of evidence that comes to light. Because Emmanuel's story matters. Because his truth deserves to be told and his name deserves to be remembered. So if you want to stay with us as this case unfolds, subscribe and turn on notifications. Not for numbers, not for clicks, but because every child deserves a voice, and Emmanuel Haro no longer has one. We owe it to him to keep listening. We owe it to him to keep telling the truth so that it will never, ever be buried again.